White Rocket Entertainment podcast number 942. A new star emerges in football. I would say so. The Hoops team heads to Vegas. They won't be racing Red Bull or Ferrari, but they will take on some heavy hitters. And when will we have our football coach? Time will tell. The AU Wishbone is next. From Southern Illinois and Eastern Virginia, it is the AU Wishbone podcast. John, how are you tonight?
I'm well, Van. How are you?
We are doing this a day early. I'm good, and thank you for asking. We're doing this a day early. This is a very unusual. We haven't done a Sunday show since the heady days early in Game of Thrones, when we quickly realized we don't need to be doing the show because Game of Thrones is on, and so we moved the show to Monday. And then immediately discovered, wow, the show works better on Monday when we've had some time to kind of process everything and calm down and think it all through. So we're back on Sunday, but tell the folks why we're on Sunday this week.
Well, because we didn't need too much time to calm down after the Mercer game, and because Auburn is playing a basketball game on Monday evening against Oregon during our regular recording time.
And we want to watch it.
Yes. With our full attention.
That's right. So and they're playing Tuesday night too against Michigan. Rematch from the Elite 8 or Sweet 16. Okay, I can never remember which is which. Anyway, yeah. And so we want to be able to focus on that on Monday and Tuesday night. And then Thanksgiving takes over and it gets crazy. So Sunday just seemed like the time to do it. And so here we are. And there's a lot to cover, so it's a good thing we want to go ahead. And plus, we were saying earlier today that if we did do it on like Tuesday, then we'd have all the basketball to talk about, and the show would be 3 hours long. So best to go ahead and get it done now, I think.
That's right. And then if we need to record again, we'll record again.
And we are joined, of course, by our show co-host, Boris the Tiger. And he has a few things to say here and there. But in any case, before we do anything else, you know what? I feel pretty good this week. It's the Auburn Fun Meter, our weekly look at how much fun it is to be an Auburn fan right this very minute. I'm pretty happy. Where are you at right now?
Yeah, I mean, basketball win last week. Big basketball games coming up this week. Win over Mercer. Exciting debut. Freshman quarterback, 7.5.
Yeah, sure. That's not the number I was necessarily thinking of, but I like it.
You can pick a different number.
I'll take 7.5. Sounds good. Let's do it. So, before we get into the Mercer game, because we've got a good bit to say about that. Again, I went and I did this in analog fashion. I actually went and wrote down some numbers. So I want to compare Deuce's performance in a partial game against Ashton's performance against a better defense on the road, but for an entire game plus overtime. So that'll be kind of interesting. It really is apples and oranges to a certain degree, but I still think it'll be interesting to kind of compare them and just see how they both came out. So we'll do that in just a little while. We got a few other things to talk about tonight, but we're going to start out with what's on everybody's mind right now. The football coaching. We need a freaking coaching search theme song. And as everything, and as this applies to everybody talking about any coach hiring that hasn't actually happened.
I don't have facts to back this up.
But everybody thinks they do.
That's everybody on the internet talking about this coaching search.
That's right. So, and in fact, most of them will end up being wrong. Yeah. So, but we can throw our ideas out there just as well as anybody, right? And, it's just a matter of time until we actually do hear somebody say,
I got great news for you.
Yeah, I got great news coming, but not quite yet. And everybody's like, when will we get a coach? When we get a coach? I mean, it's been pretty clear that the earliest that we're going to announce it is after the Iron Bowl.
Yes.
Maybe Saturday in the middle of the night, maybe Sunday. But it's complicated by the fact that Ole Miss plays on Friday, and so they've been saying they're going to announce what Lane Kiffin's future is on Saturday, maybe before the Iron Bowl. And so you could have a weird situation where things are changing in real time during and after the Iron Bowl. How crazy would that be? Like, let's say going in before anything in the Iron Bowl, before Ole Miss announces anything, let's say that everybody's like, well, Lane Kiffin's going to stay at Ole Miss and Auburn's going to hire John Sumrall. And then let's say that Lane Kiffin announces he's going to Florida or to LSU, and Ole Miss says, we want John Sumrall. And then Auburn goes out and, let's just say, beats Alabama by like 20 and totally shuts them down on defense. Things could be changing in real time, couldn't they?
They could. And then there's also the question of when John Sumrall is available.
Right.
Regardless of whether it's just Auburn or Auburn and other teams like Ole Miss pursuing him. Tulane won Saturday. It was, as we'll get to in the Tulane minute later in the show. Tulane plays 1-10 Charlotte on this coming Saturday. They will win that game. Then they will be in the American Conference Championship game on Friday, December 5th, probably against North Texas.
That's the day before the SEC Championship game?
Yes, it's the Friday night before the SEC Championship game. So the Friday after the Iron Bowl.
Right.
That's when this is.
And see, that could conceivably mess up our timetable no matter what happens with Lane Kiffin or whatever, because if we're having to wait for Sumrall, I mean.
That's right. And then if they win that game.
Oh, Lordy.
Then Tulane's going to be in the playoff. They're going to be the G5 playoff rep. And then we're talking about December 19th or 20th. They're playing a road playoff game and probably losing, but because they're going to be a road game at somewhere like Georgia or Oregon or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they'll probably lose. But then that earliest in that scenario, if he stays and coaches a playoff game, then we're talking about, whatever, December 20th having the introduction instead of, next Sunday.
I want you to imagine a scenario. Now, I just laid out one scenario. Now I'm going to lay out a different one. Imagine a scenario where Auburn does announce Sumrall will be our coach, but we're going to let him continue on with Tulane and kind of wrap things up there. And let's say he wins the conference championship. They go to the playoffs, and let's say they upset somebody in the first round of the playoffs. LSU and Florida will be, especially if Kiffin stays at Ole Miss. Imagine LSU and Florida seeing the guy they could have had going into like the second round of the playoffs with Tulane, knowing he's coming to Auburn. Oh, and imagine the Auburn people who now are like very lukewarm or cold on Sumrall. Imagine how that narrative will change if Tulane wins a couple of games.
Yes, but
just fun to think about. I know. It'll mess
the
us
other
up.
side of it is we're playing musical chairs, and we're sitting there, with an empty chair, and other people have filled their chair. And imagine a scenario where Tulane is in the playoff, but the Auburn and Ole Miss jobs are open. And we don't know that we're waiting for him to finish the playoff run, but we don't know what we think he's going to come to Auburn, but we don't know that.
Yeah. Oh, I know. There's a lot there.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy to think that we want him to lose. You don't want to hire a coach that just lost an important game, but tell me this, would Auburn lean on him and say, I don't care if you're playing for the national championship, you don't work for them anymore?
I don't think so. And maybe Tulane would let him coach if he told them the deal. And so they could be proactively recruiting his replacement while they're doing the playoff run. So they could announce their new hire the day after the playoff game, ends. I think that's a scenario too. That's possible.
Yeah. All right. Well,
the other thing that's been going on this week is Cohen's been talking to candidates about keeping DJ Durkin as defensive coordinator. What do you think?
Well, and the thing that has seemed to emerge to me is that, and again, this is just what's kind of leaked out or what I've heard here and there on social media from people that claim to be in the know. This could be complete garbage, but this is what I've kind of heard, is that Sumrall originally was opposed to keeping anybody. He wanted to bring his entire Tulane staff. And Cohen was like, we'd really like you to keep DJ Durkin. And he was like, he may not be loyal to me. I don't really know him. And so supposedly they had a conversation this past week, and DJ Durkin effectively pledged loyalty and said, I love Auburn. I love being there. My family loves being there. We don't want to leave. I would happily be your defensive coordinator. Plus, they pay him enough already. It's not like he wants to go somewhere for more money in the same or a lateral move, unless somebody comes in and wants DJ Durkin to be their head coach. And so I think that maybe they smooth things over. And I have a strong feeling that if we get Sumrall, we also keep DJ Durkin. Maybe they'll make the Tulane defensive coordinator like a assistant something or other, you know what I mean? Give him another job that would keep him in the thing, but not be the main dude. So
assistant head coach or something.
Yeah. The other thing though that is frustrating is that Derek Nix has been suddenly out of nowhere making this strong case for himself to be somewhere next year. Now, I would love it to be all. I mean, the way the offense has been playing with him, I hate to start over with a whole new system and a whole new coach when they seem to be doing just fine, racking up points with what we've got. Now, of course, the Iron Bowl will tell a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, if Auburn goes out there with Derek Nix's offense and scores like 35 points on Alabama after 62 on Mercer and 38 on Vanderbilt, don't you have to kind of like, hey, John Sumrall, I know you like your offensive coordinator in Tulane, but, I mean, and I'll put it to you this way too. The way things have been going, they're making a strong case that if we don't get a new coach, keeping what we've got right now is not nearly as bad as what I would have said a month ago. That's fair.
I mean, I would bet a large sum of money we do not keep both coordinators.
Yeah. And I just hate it though, because I feel like Deuce and those receivers really, and Ashton too, and we're going to talk about that, they really seem to be coming alive in this offense now without the lead weight around the ankle that apparently was the former head coach. I've never, this is like going to the doctor for like 8 weeks and they all but have given you your last rites, your own life support. The little thing is flatlining, and then all of a sudden the doctor's like, "Oh, I've got to go. I've got a golf appointment. I got to go. We're leaving the nurse here in charge." And all of a sudden you're like, "I feel great." You hop out of bed, your blood pressure is normal, everything is, your EKG. It's like it's just I've never seen. I just thought of this. So have you seen Death by Lightning? This Netflix 4-parter? Okay. Well, I'll just put it this way. For those of you that have seen it, and I won't spoil anything other than to say, apparently Freeze was the main doctor that tried to help President Garfield.
I mean, I know the history of the President Garfield.
Right. Apparently Freeze was and I can see Derek Nix as the other doctor that's like, "Doctor, are you sure you want to do that?" "Oh, it's fine. Ah! It's no problem. Ah!" So, yeah, there you go. What do you think, though, about Derek Nix? Am I crazy? Doesn't it seem like he's been making a good argument for somebody to put him in charge of an offense next year?
Well, I mean, it's because, yes. This is part of what's happening with all of those coaches is they're on audition for, their future jobs wherever. And I think, let's be real. Lane Kiffin gets a job in the SEC, he could rehire Derek Nix the next day to be his offensive coordinator.
I'm telling you, I'm saying if Lane Kiffin, if you're an offensive coordinator and Lane Kiffin didn't want you to leave and would happily take you back, that's kind of an endorsement.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't believe it until
Eric Nix was helping Lane Kiffin be successful.
Yeah, I didn't believe it until 2 weeks ago, and now I'm like, yeah, I see it. I totally see it now. Golly. Well, maybe we can't keep them both, but I dang sure. Let's see what happens Saturday. If we come out and roll up and down the field Saturday the way we had the last two games, and I know you think we're not, but let's just say,
I mean, even if we do, I would bet a lot of money they both don't stay.
Yeah, no, I believe you. I'm just saying that may not be a great thing.
I know, I hear you. Again, it just makes it all more frustrating, right?
Yeah, we may really regret. We may wish next year, like, man, just think how good the offense could be if we had Derek Nix still doing all the play calling. So, you had an interesting alternate history take.
Just, that we came close 3 years ago to hiring Lane Kiffin. He was choice one, and Freeze was choice two. We hired Freeze, but I believe if we had hired Lane Kiffin, then he would be doing the same thing to Auburn right this minute that he's doing to Ole Miss, and flirting with LSU and Florida in front of us, and not committing to stay and all that kind of stuff. And that we would just hate that so much as a fan base.
Well, and the thing is, the one difference is we would be more successful with him than Ole Miss has been with him, because he wouldn't have had as deep of a hole to dig out of to get them where they are now. Yeah. So he would have a team that would have been in the playoffs the last couple of years, probably, with the talent on this year's Auburn team. If he were able to recruit it, and it would be a different team, obviously, if he had recruited it, but let's just say he did. I mean, this team was, I mean, look, here's the thing. And I mean this 100%. This is not hyperbole. The Auburn team we have right now, if Hugh Freeze had gotten lost on the golf course before the Baylor game and they still hadn't found the body, this would be a playoff team. We would have beaten Oklahoma. We would have beaten Texas A&M. We would have beaten Kentucky for sure. We would have beaten everybody so far. Georgia, Missouri, and I mean, they had 6 days to prepare for Vanderbilt. I feel like in a rematch, or if you'd had the whole season leading up to it, we could have done a little better on defense.
Yes.
Maybe I'm wrong. But let's say you drop Vanderbilt. Okay, you're 10-1. You're in the playoffs. This would have been a playoff team this year with what we have right now, and that is so frustrating. I just want to bang my head on the wall.
Yeah, truth.
And this is what you were just describing. This is why teams like Ole Miss will just not ever get over the hump and win the big one, right? They're condemned to be in this cycle because it takes a special coach to make them win big. And if they do, everybody wants to hire that coach.
Yes. And
Ole Miss, God love them, as they say, Ole Miss is still below that line. There is a line. There's an invisible line in college football, and there are teams above it, and there are teams below it. And Ole Miss is still below the line that says the coach leaves to go somewhere else if he's successful.
And they're closer to it than they were in 1991.
Yes.
But they are
still
not there.
They're still not across it. That is correct. Yeah. And it's too bad for Ole Miss. I hate it for you. The sad thing is we're closer to it than we were in 1991 too, in the other direction, right? If that's the line, Ole Miss is like this, but we are like this. So we need to stop. Put the brakes on this sucker immediately. All right, let's look at the Mercer game real quick. 62-17. I don't think either one of us saw that coming.
No. It was
that 75-yard run on first play of the game, first time since Go Crazy Cadillac.
I was just laughing.
And then he did it again a little shorter later. That was Cam Newton stuff right there. That was Cam against like Arkansas State or whoever in his first game. So, Oh my Lord in heaven, that was incredible. So, all right, go ahead. You had a couple of impressions.
I mean, the they had senior day, and so the best moment of the entire day was Brian Battie coming up to go through senior day and get hugged by DJ Durkin and go out there with the rest of his former teammates. That was a great moment. Probably the biggest cheer of the whole day in the stadium, and very, very happy for him.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to imagine he was just been a senior this year, because he had played a year at South Florida and then transferred to Auburn and played for, did he play for Potato? Or was he for the Cadillac year, or the Cadillac and Potato year? That was 22.
I'm looking.
I don't think so. I think he must have come in last year for 23. Yeah, I think that's it. I think he came in with Freeze in 23. So Florida, South Florida, and then 23, 24, 25. Yeah, that makes sense.
He ran in 23.
Okay. So, and then the other interesting thing was that Keldrick Falk apparently went through, did the senior stuff, because everybody knew, it's like Cam after the championship. Yeah, you won't be seeing his like again anytime soon. And so he did all this stuff, and that's good. That's fine, because he's going to go off and be a first-round draft pick. You said it was a close and uncomfortable first half. In the first half, I said it's like sitting next to a Bama fan at the DMV.
Oh,
close and uncomfortable. Truth. But then Deuce kind of, again, when he got to go out there, he lit it up. He got his 7. Mercer came back with 14, and then DJ jumped on him and got the defense's attention, and they clamped it down after that. Think about this. Mercer led 14-7, and after that, we outscored them 55-3.
Well, it really turned around in the minutes right before halftime and right after halftime. You remember, it was fairly close late in the second quarter, and Mercer had the ball and was driving, but right before the half. And, Auburn had scored. They were driving down. They were going to try and get at least a field goal before the half, because Auburn got the ball after halftime, and Mercer turned it over, and Auburn immediately attacked and scored again. We
didn't take a knee. We didn't take a knee, and we didn't try to set up the field goal. We drove down the field
and scored. And then we started the second half with a score, and then they got the ball, and then we had the pick 6 pretty soon after that. So it really was like the 4 or 5 minutes before halftime and after halftime is when the game completely swung in our direction. Out of their reach.
Completely away. Yeah, they quit being able to move the ball after we got locked in on defense and shut them down. Deuce night, just spectacular. At some point here, we're going to talk about compare the numbers, but we did have some injuries, and there was a suspension. A little concerned. Walk us through those.
Keldrick Falk was banged up. We saw him come off a couple times. That was a little scary. We got to have him this week.
I couldn't tell what was hurt. He was holding his arm like that. I'm like, is it your kidney? You know what I mean? Or is it your shoulder? It could be anything between the shoulder, the elbow, the arm, and then down to this place where he's holding. I'm like, I can't parse out exactly what's injured here, but it didn't look good. He wasn't happy.
No, I didn't like that. And so there's no word on him. We don't know. Jeremiah Cobb seemed a little banged up too.
Yes.
He was not quite as explosive and was a little slow getting up a few times.
Didn't have a good game statistically.
No. And then Sylvester Smith, the safety, was ejected for targeting, and he will miss the first half of the Alabama game.
Yeah. The last time that happened was the guys getting ejected at the end of the Georgia game, not getting to play in the Alabama game back in 2010.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, it's one of the many reasons we played better in the second half of the comeback. We just talked about that in the book. For all they did was win. But what was the deal with the running backs? We played Cobb just a few carries, and then we started putting in like the A-Day running backs. Where were our backup running backs that have been our backup running backs all season?
I mean, I think we, remember our number 2 running back is no longer on the team.
Well, yeah.
And so really the other running back would have been Mabson.
Yeah,
But we
he did.
played Justin Jones a lot in this game for some reason.
Yeah. Oh, where's Mabson and where's and wasn't Duracell supposed to be back?
I mean, I think he's practicing, but I don't know if he's ready to play.
Oh,
So,
okay. All right.
it was just Mabson did not get a carry. Justin Jones got 6 carries, and Cobb got 12 carries. So,
yeah, just weird. And this is not the kind of game you want to see players get hurt. I mean, just right the week before the Iron Bowl, you put some of your key guys out there get hurt. It's just, but I wonder what the deal is with Mabson, because he's been a great backup all season.
I don't know. Maybe he was banged up from the Vanderbilt game, or maybe they, Justin Jones a walk on. Maybe they wanted to give him time in this game at home. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true too. Was that crazy, or did it seem like Mercer did everything they could to stop our running game? Now, obviously, they couldn't stop the quarterback running game, but it looked like they really sold out to stop our running backs, which opened up the quarterback running game and the passing game. But
they did. They really focused on the running backs. You're correct.
Okay. Well, I hope so, because dang, we didn't do much against them.
No, but they tried to take that away from us. They felt like that was something they could do, but it opened up the quarterback run and the pass, which we were much more effective than we've been in other games, and we're getting ready to get to that.
Speaking of that, you mentioned Deuce's passing touch. He not only does he throw a catchable ball, as you accurately note, he can get it there before the defense can even try to intercept it. You get the sense that if the DB or whoever stuck his hand up to try to intercept it, there'd be a hole in his hand until it gets to the receiver, right? I mean, it's like Deuce is like looking, bang, and then there's that lightning bolt, and it's a completion, and the guy's like, the defender's reaching for it as it zaps by like a lightning bolt. So
he definitely can get some velocity on the ball.
Yeah, he looks like he can throw the ball very accurately, and he can get it there with alacrity, as they say. Now not an SEC defense, yeah, but he did seem like he knew what he was doing. I mean, we have to understand he's not going to get as much time against Alabama, right? I mean, he was able to. This is like the one game all year that an Auburn. Oh my gosh, that just made me think of something, and you know what it probably is. But this is the one game all season that Auburn quarterbacks could stand back there and survey the field and not get sacked, except Jackson Arnold. just like the sun will rise in the morning, Jackson Arnold's going to get sacked by an FCS team. Ah, good gosh. That when that happened, I just like threw a pillow across the room. I'm like, okay.
Oh yeah. But no, you're right. Deuce Knight was decisive. He looked at the field, but also he made decisions and got rid of the ball, or he took off. Right. Yes. He didn't sit back there for 6 or 7 seconds. So
gosh. Like some people. Oh my gosh. All right. So Deuce had 6 touchdowns. Tied Cam Newton and Carnell Williams for the Auburn record. Perhaps you've heard of those two gentlemen. 401 yards of total offense, 162 rushing. Let's see if this matches up to my statistics. Yep. 239 passing. Yep. The 10th most by an Auburn player since 1996. That would be back to Damian Craig. Back when he was the entire offense.
That includes the entire Cam Newton, Nick Marshall era. So
yeah, that's well, you say that. I guarantee you I don't know in front of me, but I'm just betting off the top of my head that one of those top 10 is like Chris Todd in 2009.
Okay.
Because you could stick Gus out there with a quarterback that was mobile and could throw the ball, and he'd have 400 yards.
I like it.
Todd had records. Crazy, but he did that year. We didn't have a defense that year in 2009. Offense was good.
I'm gonna try and look this up while you're talking. Keep going.
All right. Well, so yeah, Deuce was a bright spot. The fans needed, the team needed. It was great. Had a good crowd there. I don't know if it was completely full, but it was a sellout. I know there was another sellout going in. And, again, the Auburn people just continue to show up and support this team. And the last 2 games, they've been given a reason to. And, I mean, think about this. Imagine going into the Iron Bowl after Kentucky. Imagine if the Kentucky game had been the last game before the Iron Bowl. I mean, we would get excited. The stadium would be up for Alabama. But now imagine what that stadium's going to be like against Alabama on Saturday after what we've seen the last 2 games. It's going to be rocking. Those Auburn fans, very knowledgeable. They watch shows like this or listen to shows like this and other shows. They keep up with things, and they know the deal. They know they're going to see Ashton Daniels and Jeremiah Cobb and Keldrick Falk come out there. Cam Coleman. They're going to come out there. Malcolm had a big game, and they're going to give it their all, and it's going to be a war. It's going to be a war. Here's my comparison. Let's kind of go through. I'm going to go through stat by stat. Okay. Again, bearing in mind, I'm not saying this is a direct comparison. This is apples and oranges. I know, because one is a freshman playing against Mercer and only part of the game. Had to share time. The other was a junior / redshirt junior playing a game that went into overtime and didn't have to share with anybody, right? So this is apples and oranges, but I just thought it would be interesting to compare, because people are going to be like, oh, you can't compare those because it's different. No, just hush, calm down, go with it. Here we go. Deuce, completed 15 out of 20 passes. Daniels completed 31 out of 44. So Daniels got a lot more opportunities. But Deuce completed 75% of his passes. And Daniels, 31 out of 44 is close enough to 75% too, right? It's right around in there. Okay. Probably just below it. Deuce, 239 yards passing. Daniels 353. And by the way, this is just to remind you, if you feel like we should just toss Ashton overboard and go with Deuce, I think Deuce has a place in the offense now with the things he can do. But again, Deuce was doing them against Mercer. Daniels was doing them against a potentially playoff team in Vanderbilt on the road in Vandy. Okay. 353 yards. Deuce 12.0 average completion, Daniels 8.0 average completion, because that was helped by the fact that Malcolm had a 91-yard. That'll help your average, right? Having a 91-yard touchdown pass will help your average. They both threw for 2 TDs with 0 interceptions. I like that. I like that number. Okay. Now, running game. Deuce carried 9 times. Daniels carried 18 times. Deuce had 162 yards. Daniels had 89 yards against Vanderbilt. Deuce had 4 touchdowns on the ground. Daniels had 2 on the ground. Deuce's long was 75. Daniels' long was 23. And Deuce's average was, I don't guess I have it. Daniel's average was running was 4.9. Yeah. So they're not really comparable in a lot of ways. But honestly, I mean, in some ways they are, even though the numbers are wildly different when you kind of compensate for how many snaps they took and for who the competition was and all that. They're not that far apart. I think that the main difference is that Deuce had longer runs and longer passes.
And Ashton attempted more passes, yes.
And was grinding it out more. We were shorter passes. They weren't busting them loose for 80, 90 yards, whatever. So, but other than that, they're fairly comparable, I think. So I guess my way of saying, I mean, I think that Deuce has a role. I'd love to see him play some against Alabama, but you can't look at Mercer and say, oh, he should be the starter ahead of Daniels. Daniels is going to start the game and may play the entire game. Who knows?
Yes.
And I hope he does, because that will mean it's working. You put it this way, you don't want Deuce to have to play a lot, because that will mean that Ashton is not working. It's whatever Ashton is doing is not working, and that would be bad
or something. Yes, that would be bad.
I want Ashton to come off the field onto the sideline every drive from the end zone.
I was going to say, I want Deuce to play because we're beating them so bad. Ashton comes
so
out.
bad. Oh, I know. Every year we say maybe one year we'll just beat the living hell out of them, and then it never quite happens. But yeah, 2017 was the best. But all right, so that was the comparison I just kind of wanted to do. And again, I mean, do you draw any conclusions from that? I mean, you agree with what I'm saying, or what do you think?
No, I hear you, and I think it's valid to look at those things and think about them. Again, I think the points you made about the opponent are really important, and playing on the road versus at home are really important too. But at the same time, like, it is obvious to anybody that watched that game that Deuce Knight has something.
Yeah.
Like that. Okay, forget the Alabama game for a moment.
I know what's coming.
You're the general manager for Auburn, and I tell you, you can only bring one of those quarterbacks back for the 2026 season. Who would you bring back?
Oh, Deuce for sure. But here's the question: what if you do all that we've done to bring Ashton back, and then Deuce like wins the starting job? Ashton is back to being the backup, or I guess so. Or do you does Deuce come back if he thinks he's going to be the backup again?
I think after that, especially after that performance, I think no. I think he's made a display that makes people say like he should be a starter in 26 on a college football team.
Do you think a team like Ohio State could come after him?
I think everybody's going to come after him.
Oh my
everybody.
Lord. Oh my God! Yeah, I don't know if my heart can stand that. I don't know if my heart can take it.
Agree.
Leave our quarterback alone. Leave our quarterback alone.
Now, I want to say this. Deuce Knight would not have done that in week 1, okay?
No. Well, he did kind of go out there and stumble around a little bit. And
yes, at Ball State, that was like week 2 or 3 or whatever it was. So he would not have done that early in the season. He needed the time on the bench, learning the offense, practicing, getting better to get to this place. It's not like if we'd have started him week 1, he'd have been doing this all season, because that is not the truth.
No,
however,
you're right.
It's obvious he's pretty freaking good. And I think he or Ashton both probably should have been playing earlier than they did.
Oh yeah. I think Freeze just had his stubborn mind set on it's going to be this way, and he was not willing to try anything else, and we had to fire him to change the game plan.
Ding ding ding.
He could have handed play calling over to Nix. He could have started Ashton Daniels. He could have done all of that. We had to take the grandpa's keys away to keep the car from getting wrecked and down the road again. That's what it came down to.
Might still be here if he had done those things.
I'm saying, I just keep thinking about other teams coming after our players, and I'm just like,
what we're dealing with here is a complete lack of respect for the law.
And I mean, the only way I think that we're going to make it through till we find out if we can keep these guys,
smoke weed every day.
That's pretty much the only strategy we have. I think that's going to have to be the strategy.
Amen.
All right.
A little bit more about the Mercer game. The defense did start very slow, and they got better, as you said. The pass coverage is really the concern. We didn't give up a lot of rushing yards as normal, but they did complete a bunch of passes against us, especially early in the game. And then I think the defense kind of got chewed out a little bit. They were being a little lower energy in the first half, and we made some adjustments and got them fired up properly. And then we had the Elijah Menendez pick 6, and he's come on and had a really good season. Our guy last year who played so well as a freshman linebacker is out with an injury. We haven't talked about it. But Melendez has come on and made a big difference. And Chris Murray is a guy that, transfer guy that caused the fumble right before halftime. So they played well. And then the other thing I want to talk about was special teams actually had a good game. I rag on them a lot, but it was great to see Alex McPherson make those 2 long field goals.
It's fantastic for Alex, and everybody's thrilled for him. Clearly he's gotten stronger and healthier, because these were both 40 plus. One was nearly 50.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. But the other thing was, it's like even the kicking gets better when we fire freeze. I don't understand it. Everything got better. I think that the quality of the hot dogs in Jordan-Hare might have gotten better even. I don't understand it.
It's very possible. Very possible.
So, all right. Is it time?
It's time. Let's do it.
There's just 3 things, John, in life.
Crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentation of their
Bama fans.
Hear the lamentations of the Bama fans.
That is what is best in life. The Bama fans lament. We like when they lament. They lament their evil ways. That is it, yes. Saturday, November 29th, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 normal time on ABC. When was the last time the Iron Bowl was on ABC?
One of those Keith Jackson games. I mean,
1982 or something, or 83. Yeah, with a tornado and Bo. Same thing. I repeat myself. There was a violent storm that came through Legion Field in 1983, and Bo Jackson played. But I repeat myself.
Good.
That's so good. All right, so tell us about some of us don't pay that much attention to the evil empire, especially when we're not great. So tell us what they're all about in 2025.
So this version of Alabama is good. I would say they're very good, but they're not the invincible machine that some of those Nick Saban teams were in the the 2010s. They have lost 2 games. They lost to Oklahoma recently, and earlier in the season they lost to Florida State in the opener.
Yeah,
and
Gus ran
Florida
everything
State,
he had. Gus emptied the playbook on him, and that was a glorious thing. Yeah,
he did, and it was wonderful, and we enjoyed every minute of that. And it turns out Florida State is bad, so that is not a good loss. And Oklahoma beat them in a game where, we talked about this a few weeks ago. Alabama had like a 95% chance to win that game. Basically, they outgained Oklahoma by a huge amount, but they turned the ball over several times. They had some special teams miscues, and that was a problem, and Oklahoma won. So
that's how Oklahoma beats you.
That's right. That's the Oklahoma model.
Yes.
But they, at the same time, Alabama went into Georgia and beat them, and that's probably the best win anybody in the SEC has this year.
Yeah,
they went into
they
Georgia.
have done well against good teams. They've done bad against bad teams or mediocre teams, but they've done well against good teams.
That's right. They went into that, stadium against Georgia and beat them. They took care of business against Tennessee. They got Vanderbilt at home and beat them solidly. So when they played those teams, they did it. But at the same time, I'm just going to say the only really good team they played on the road is Georgia, and they won that game 24-21. And if you remember that game, Alabama jumped out to a big lead and then held on for dear life at the end of the game as Georgia came storming back, and Alabama barely held them off. So that's that's kind of where we are with Alabama and this season. They're much more of a it's Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb offense. They're much more of a passing game, kind of like that Washington team. They're not great at running the ball. In fact, they're bad at running the ball, but Ty Simpson is really good, and they have good receivers. So their passing game is very good. It's going to be, and again, that's not a strength of Auburn right this minute. So that's going to be a problem for us. They're really good at throwing the ball, but they can't run the ball at all. They're actually 15th out of 16 in rushing offense. And
That's
so
crazy.
it is crazy, but that's who they are. That's who, they've recruited. One of their running backs is playing a lot at Michigan. So they don't have the same guys. This is definitely the overall, A&M's offense was better overall. I think they had a better running game than Alabama, but this is the second best offense we played, but we did okay against A&M, right?
We did. And
that was over there. So I think that does put us in a place. We've already talked about, in terms of the offense, who would you start at quarterback for Auburn? We've already answered that question.
Yes.
But the other thing, this is just a little bit of a bizarre Alabama team. They're bad at stopping the run, which is not something you normally expect. So Auburn should be able to run the ball. I expect a big dose of Jeremiah Cobb, Ashton Daniels running the ball, maybe some end around to Singleton more than once.
Well, look, before you get to this insane stat, losing to a team that cannot run and cannot stop the run, Pat Dye will be rolling over in his blessed grave at that thought. That's like what he would say. You gotta run, and you gotta stop the run, right? That's the thing you got to do: run the ball and stop the run. If you can do those two things, you can win a whole lot of football games. It's just in this modern, newfangled, wondrous world we live in that you can get by without being able to run or stop the run.
That's right. And Alabama gets away with it because their offense is really good. Their defense is actually first overall in total defense, but they're 15th against the rush.
This doesn't seem possible, but I believe you. Doesn't seem possible.
The math on this is weird. A lot of it is because they're good. They're number one against the pass. But we talked about this earlier. The passing statistics are a little bit skewed because of the offenses they played. Okay. I mean, they played Oklahoma. They're terrible. They played Eastern Illinois this past week. They played LSU, and LSU's quarterback was hurt. They played South Carolina when he was banged up. They played Tennessee. That was at home. They beat Tennessee. They played Missouri. I can't remember if Pibula played in that game, but I
think so, but it was a close game.
They beat Missouri by 3 in Missouri.
Yeah, it was a very close game. Yeah.
Again, they beat Georgia by 3 on the road. They beat Missouri by 3 on the road.
We would have beaten Georgia and Missouri playing the way we are now.
That's right.
I have zero doubt of that.
Yeah, so
I have zero doubt.
I think their defense is good, but it's a little bit the stats are a little bit inflated because they played a bunch of bad offenses: Wisconsin, Louisiana Monroe, in LSU and Oklahoma, Eastern Illinois late in the season. I think that makes their defense look better than it is. I think Auburn can move the ball on them, and I think Auburn, especially the way Auburn played in the Vanderbilt game, if we come out and do some of that, I think we can have some success on them.
Oh, by the way, speaking of Eastern Illinois, I did check, and that is the college we were at over the summer. Mira did girls state at Eastern Illinois, and I'll tell you, it just looked like the most tranquil little, private liberal arts girls college you ever saw. Bless them. So to think that school was going to play Alabama is just mind blowing to me, because that was not the impression I got from their campuses. They were fielding a team that could play Alabama, and
clearly they didn't think so either. So
right, exactly.
I think we do need to make, this is a very obvious statement I'm going to make, but we need our big play guys to come in and make plays in this game. We need Coleman and Singleton and Cobb to make plays against this Alabama defense. It's going to be tough. I don't want to be getting the ball to other players. I do not want to throw the ball to freaking Preston Howard, but Cam Coleman's got to make tough catches against coverage, in this game. Singleton's got to make guys miss and get extra yards for us to have a chance.
Yeah.
The other secret sauce thing here is that Alabama special teams are bad.
This is news too. Tell us more about that. Yes.
So they're not great at return games, and their kicker is actually bad. Alabama fans were booing their own kicker. Again, they had huge problems against Oklahoma, but last week against Eastern Illinois, they were booing their own kicker when he was kicking extra points and stuff. He's 8 of 13 in SEC play and 4 of 7 on the road.
I love that. That's good. I like that noise. I like that kind of.
Yeah, at a time when we feel pretty good about our kicker and we feel good about him making a kick in this game, Alabama fans have no confidence that their kicker can come into Jordan-Hare and make a kick. Can you imagine this guy after that coming in and trying to kick in Jordan-Hare with everybody going crazy?
Yeah, they don't kick well in Jordan-Hare to begin with.
No. And
remember, they have been told that it's haunted.
And again, if this is a close game, if it's 24-20, 27-24 like that, and it comes down to who can make a couple of field goals, I like that. I like that.
All right. Well, what I want to come out of this game is that because think about it, there's a lot on the line, not just for them, but for us. If we win, we are in a bowl game. And if beating Alabama, we'd be in a bowl game. We're already in the news in the college football anyway for the coaching search and everything else, and for players like Cam Coleman and Deuce Knight and everything. So we will be a very attractive team for a bowl game, playing the way we are, being in the news, being somebody there's a lot of attention on. So beat Alabama. You've got to win over Alabama. You're in a bowl game. You're in the postseason. You get some more practices and all that important stuff. And you also knock Alabama out of the playoffs probably. And I desperately, desperately want the narrative coming out of Tuscaloosa to be
playoffs. Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs?
Oh, that's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear from DeBoer.
And again, are we counting on some kind of Jordan-Hare voodoo and Auburn to play better at this game than they have? Yes, but let's look at the last 3 games in Auburn in this series.
Yeah. 2019,
Bo Nix and Gus, Auburn win. 2021, Harsin, we can't get a freaking first down. We lose in overtime.
Multiple overtimes.
Alabama. Multiple overtimes to Alabama, which was, as you often make the analogy, handcuffing ourselves to a bomb. And then in 2023, we had them beat 4th and 37.
Oh my gosh. They love to say what the name of that play was. Just like Georgia used to talk about that X takeoff, whatever, in 2002. So that's fine. I know. To think that as bad as we've been the last 5 years, we could currently be, because we won in 2017 also. And we won in 2013. So just think about this. From 2013 to the present, we could have one Iron Bowl legitimate loss, 2015, when we weren't going to beat anybody. That could be the one in all this stretch. But we blew it twice. And we are so due. We are due. This just feels like a team of destiny now.
Amen.
You're so due. I mean, I'm sure Alabama doesn't want to hear it, but
whether you like it or not, learn to love it.
That's right.
Because it's the best thing going today.
Woo! All right, here's another stat you didn't know. The Auburn Tigers football team is first in the SEC in turnover margin.
I like that. That sounds good.
A little dramatically different than last year. We have created the most turnovers. I think we tied our record already for a season going back at least 5 to 7 years. So
we've gotten several interceptions, but it just doesn't feel like what am I missing that we have all these
We've
turnovers?
gotten some fumbles. We keep strip sacking the quarterback, creating fumbles and stuff.
Okay. I guess, yeah. Okay.
I think Alabama's with their passing game, they're going to move the ball up and down the field. But if we could just hold them to field goal attempts and not touchdowns, that's going to really, really put us in a good position later in the game.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it'll knock them out of the SEC championship game as well, but we don't need to worry about that. That's just a nice thing that's going to come along if we can win. We need to worry about us. Auburn needs to worry about Auburn, I think.
That's right. We got to play our game.
Even the bowl game, postseason, whatever, potentially having a winning record after all this misery in the middle of the season, all of that is secondary to just beating Alabama. Just beating Alabama.
That's right. I hate those guys.
That's the goal. Just that, everything else comes from it, but that's the thing.
And listen, it's going to be a night game in Jordan-Hare, so the crowd's going to be off the scale. It's going to be cold at the end of this game, but you remember what we always say, it's the hate that keeps you warm.
That's right. We'll be nice and warm. I don't know about them, but we will be nice and warm. I mean, from the minute they and their fans walk into Jordan-Hare, people are going to be like,
There they are.
Uh-huh.
There they are. Are they not a shame on their country?
Well, I certainly think so. I think they definitely are. Certainly are a shame on their country. But that's just how it is. So let's see. You had a couple other stats. Alabama's defense is they're good against the pass. Is that what you said? Right.
Yep. Yeah. No, I think I've covered all this stuff. So
okay.
I think I'm good.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
I mean,
I did notice Joseph Goodman today said his headline was Auburn will win the Iron Bowl. That's the Alabama guy. I mean, I'm like the only Auburn fan that actually thinks he's a good writer and I enjoy reading his columns because, he's an Alabama guy. Fine. I'm an Auburn guy. I'd write the same way for Auburn. That's fine. I don't hold that against him, but I think he's a pretty smart guy. And his headline was Auburn and the whole column was reasons why Auburn's going to win. And I'm like, tell me more, Joseph. This is good.
Well, I mean, you go back to those two road games we just talked about. They went into Missouri, they won by 3 points. They went into Georgia, they won by 3 points. Their kicker is shaky. They're coming into Auburn. They can't run the ball and they can't stop the run.
God,
and it's a night game in Jordan-Hare.
And crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentation of the
Bama fans. Oh. All right, we've given you folks out there a solid hour of Iron Bowl and football-related coverage. We are now going to segue to the hoopsie hoops. We beat Jackson State on Wednesday 112-66. That was a satisfying beatdown, made all the better because the Jackson State coach was a Bama guy. And
it didn't bother me any.
It didn't hurt. And before the game, they said he even considered wearing Bama gear over to the Auburn campus. And I'm like, oh, by all means. He wouldn't be the only guy in the stands in Alabama gear because we determined the other day that there were Alabama people at the Auburn Mercer game.
Yes.
I mean, what kind of weirdo do you have to be to go to Auburn Mercer wearing your Alabama gear? What is that even all about? I don't even understand it. And ESPN was like, can you believe this? I'm like, yeah, because they're at everything. If we have a ladies volleyball match, there's going to be somebody there in Bama gear. They're always there. That's what they do. You don't see Auburn people at random Alabama events. We couldn't give a flip, but there they are. But Keyshawn Hall was held out, which made me afraid we would have a hard time scoring. We could have had 122 instead of 112. 100. I'm sorry. We could have had 212 instead of 112 if Keyshawn Hall had played, I think, in that game. But Simon Walker, tell us about this guy. What do you know about this guy? 5 for 5 3-pointers.
He's a true freshman who we signed. He was the number 2 player in the state of Alabama, and he's a shooting guard that Auburn signed to fill that kind of, wing 3-point shooter, guy standing at the 3-point line. We spread the offense out, and he's out there waiting for the pass, and he, makes a shot. And he had a good, I thought, oh, this guy will need a red shirt a year and get ready for the SEC. But then the stories this summer were he was playing really well when the team was scrimmaging this summer, but then he got hurt and had to have surgery. And he's been out for 2 months recovering from surgery. He just got cleared to play like this week. And so he couldn't play in the other games. And so then in the Jackson State game, we were up big. They brought him in the second half. And he went 5 for 5 from 3-point range. And the first 4 didn't hit the rim. They were just absolute dime perfect 3-point shots. So he's a great shooter. And we need somebody, off the bench in that shooting guard role who can just be the stand over there in the corner, stand out at the top of the 3-point line and wait for the pass while everything else is happening. And you just stand out there and when the defense collapses, you get it and you make the shot. And I think it's, we've been playing that walk on Blake Musilek a lot. And we've been playing Bashir, the JUCO transfer, who's a really good 3-point shooter. And I think, either Bashir or Walker is going to end up getting a lot of minutes in SEC play as kind of the backup shooting guard and a guy who can make some open threes, and might be freaking Walker.
Yeah. Well, he needs to get some playing time because he knocked down 15 points in about 2 minutes at the end of the game.
Mm-hmm. We're going to forget to see. It'd be interesting to see what, we got 3 games in 3 days in Las Vegas. So that demands a lot of players play, and you can't play your starters huge minutes. So I think it may be a thing where we see him in some of those games.
I am still worried about Tahad, and I have to admit, and Bama fans can enjoy this if they want, but it bugs me. I don't like seeing Aiden Holloway doing better than Tahad. That just bugs me. My level of concern is 0.0. I think he had a good game against Houston, and I think when we play the next big time teams we play in this tournament in Las Vegas, the real Todd's going to show up and make plays. So, all right. Well, I want to see it, especially since Keyshawn Hall is probably still not going to play. I feel like we're probably not going to get Keyshawn back until January, until the SEC play starts. Maybe a little bit before that, but we'll see.
Yeah.
He got hurt his ankle pretty bad, I think, and I want to see him at 100%. All right, so Monday night, which is why we're doing this show on Sunday night, November 24th, Auburn versus Oregon in Vegas. The Auburn team was out there during the Grand Prix, the Formula One Grand Prix on Sunday, which is pretty cool. It was actually Saturday night rather than Sunday, obviously, oddly, just because the time difference with Europe. So we play Oregon 8 o'clock, I guess Eastern, 7 o'clock Central on True TV.
That's it's a TBS TNT network that this is one of those networks that the NCAA tournament is always on. So you got those games, you'll get this game.
We probably gonna say you probably got it, you just didn't know it because the NCAA tournament was several months ago. And then tell us about Oregon real quick.
I mean, they're a good team. They're good in the Big Ten. They're 58th in Ken Palm right now, but that's not terrible. There's a lot of teams in college basketball, but they were a 5 seed in the NCAA tournament last year, and they advanced the second round. So that's the way you should think of Oregon. Then like every team, they had a lot of turnover. They're not the same, but they're still a big time team with some talent. So we got to be ready for them. And then
we automatically go ahead, whether win or lose. We play Michigan Tuesday night, 8:30, 7:30 Central on TNT.
Yep, and Michigan, has a couple of guys back from that team last year. Not everybody, obviously, but they reloaded with some big time transfers, and that's a team that's like in the top 10 in most.
Is our former point guard on him? On it still?
I do not know. I will check while we're talking. I meant to look that up. I meant to look up if you're talking about Trey Donaldson.
Trey Donaldson, yes.
Yeah, if he was on that.
And meanwhile, Wednesday, we will find out who we play and what time and what channel. It depends on how the first 2 games go as who we play Wednesday. And depends on how the other teams go in their games, who we get on Wednesday night, the night before Thanksgiving. But we will play somebody regardless, right?
That's right. No, we will play 100% on Wednesday, and it'll be somebody good because they're only good teams in this tournament. Even if we lose both of these other games, we're going to play a freaking good team.
Yeah.
I do not see him on the roster in the stats, so he must have moved on. But a lot of those other guys that we played, there's a guard named Kedu that was there, and a couple of these other guys I recognize as being on that team. So they've got some new guys too that are pretty good. So it'll be interesting.
This is kind of like the Maui Invitational, but even bigger. Yeah. And so, like, remember, UConn didn't do well, and they still ended up going, playing hard teams and everything. So no matter what happens. All right. There is your look at the Hoopty Hoop team. We love them. Steven's gang, the new run and gun team. Now let's take a look at the college football pick'em. How is it looking? How's it shaping up as we get close to the end of the season, John?
All right. We had everybody had a pretty good week this week. I guess there wasn't a lot of upsets. Most people got the 10 out of 10 correct. And that means the overall standings kind of stayed the same. Cato the Barner still a 1-point lead over Auburn football's Elvis, and then 2 points over Show Me Your TDs. So very close as we head down the stretch. But a lot of tough games to pick now. It could go either way. So be interesting to see what happens. And it's been fun. We had a lot of people participating. And I'm going to throw out a couple more team names here before we move on. There's one it's Jeremiah Cobb season. I like that. Somebody says, I'm ready to be hurt again. That's pretty good. Somebody says Peyton Thorne's picks.
Well, we know he had a lot of picks, so that's fair.
I do. And then one says Wine Bama Wine, which is an appropriate name for this week.
Absolutely. I'm just looking for something here.
Wait, before you pull up the next thing and bring it up, just a reminder, when there's college football games, SEC games on Friday, so you got to get your picks in before Friday morning, basically.
Good point. I was just curious if there was any change. Oh no. I made a terrible mistake with my fantasy Formula One team. We'll get to that in just a second. Oh Lord, did we ever mess up? This was the moment that I could have made a move, John, and I blew it. This was my moment to take the lead in fantasy Formula One, and I blew it. So are we ready for fantasy Formula One update? All right. So here's where everything went wrong. Both the McLaren drivers at the Las Vegas Grand Prix ended up getting disqualified after the race was over. And I had Max Verstappen on one of my teams a whole lot of this second half of the season. And if I'd left him on there, that team would probably, I don't know if it'd be in first, but it would be a lot closer to first place than I am right now. But because good old Michael Kirshner in first place only got 76 points this week because he had Lando and McLaren. Minus 54 for McLaren and Lando this week. But I had the same thing. So I got, oh my gosh. My team this week scored 16 points.
Ouch.
That's terrible. Let's see. In third place, Mandy Thompson scored minus 13. Oh, gosh. Because she also had Lance Stroll, who had minus 20. This was a week. If you had the right driver, you could actually make up serious ground. Kirshner's other team, 50. My second team in fifth place, 22. So it's not negative. Yay. And then Lane Middleton in sixth had minus 49. This is what happens when you build your entire league and all the teams are built around McLaren. Seventh had minus 40. So Eric Morgan, minus 22, actually went up. Darren Pyle in ninth had 105. because he doesn't have McLaren. He has Mercedes and Sauber. And then finally, Brett Wiggins in 10th with Wiggins Team Racing. Oh, Lord, he had minus 80 because he has Norris, Piastri, and McLaren. So this was a week you could have made some hay while the sun shined if you it did let my team in second place pull a little bit clear of third place. Mandy Thompson's all burnt out. So, all right, there's where things stand with the Fantasy Formula One. There's only 2 races left to go, and it really looks like it's going to be exciting. Oh, down the home stretch. Max and Oscar are tied in second right now, and Lando is only 24 points, I think, ahead of both of them with 2 races to go. So it's, as they say in England, it's all to play for right now. We got to thank the patrons. They let us, we all get to do things like the Fantasy Formula One. We get to do things like the college football pick'em. We have the bowl pick'em coming up that we know certain furry little creatures on this show do very well at. And we have then the basketball season will be rolling in big time, and we have the big March Madness brackets coming up. We always have a bunch of people do. So we usually have a ton of people do the bowl pick'em. It's amazing. Like we have like 150 or something on there. It's crazy. So jump in, sign up, go to www.auwishbone.com and sign up to be a patron. You can and I forgot to say, the main benefit of being a patron and having our Patreon is we don't have to have ads. And I want to let you know what I did again this week, John? I turned down another network offering to put us on because they wanted to run a bunch of ads and interrupt us with ads and put ads on the beginning and the end.
No.
And I'm like, and they're like, well, you can keep your Patreon ad free. I'm like, no, we're keeping our show ad free. We're keeping our show ad free. And so I turn these down for one reason only, and that's because the patrons make it possible to cover our various expenses. StreamYard alone is ridiculously expensive, and the patrons make it possible. So thank you all very, very much. Help out. Go to www.auwishbone.com. Here are the fine folks who are currently doing that. They include Samuel Salvatore, who says Freeze would make a good offensive coordinator in golf because he may actually put together a good drive. Hey! We also have to thank Logan Chilton, who always reminds us that to be an Auburn fan.
So what do I sacrifice?
Well,
Everything.
Amen. Amen. Ben Spooner, who, I mean, the thought of Alabama coming into Jordan-Hare and doing well is
Blasphemy!
Absolutely. In fact, I overheard this in the Alabama football complex yesterday, is they were asking DeBoer about coming down to Jordan-Hare and playing in the Iron Bowl, and he said,
You don't want it. You may not win.
That's right. You may not. You may not. Carl Von Drunker, Chris and Clinton Stewart, Mercer Hate Week 2025. Earl Ricks, Phil Amthor, now giving Vanna John a break from the no sound clip since the dismal years are over, I hope. Well, amen to that. Richard Stevens, Steve Trawick, Ann Pridgeon, Shane Bailey, Susan Trawick, Willie Carden, Matt Flowers. Play it again, Van.
My head hurts, my feet stink, and I don't love Jesus. That kind of morning really was that kind of night.
Woo-hoo. All right. Gary Grant, a.k.a. AU fan at KSC. William Morgan, Bradley Blackman. John warned us about Hugh Freeze. Michael Kirsner, who is our current Formula One dominating driver, team owner. If Carol Shelby could see Mercer fans, he'd say,
I don't speak Italian, but he ain't happy.
I always enjoy those. David W.D. Sammons, Esquire, Harry Zager, G Money, Rich Reimer, Steve Harlan, Wes Atkinson. You know what we are.
I mean, they just say that we're some dogs, honestly.
Again, that's right. A few more patrons, then back to the authorities. Catherine England, no one fights like Gaston. War Eagle always. Mickey B, the 3 monkeys covering their eyes, ears, and mouth. Theodore Gary, Winston Body, defending fantasy F1 drivers and manufacturers champion Lane Middleton. Brandon Smith, Daniel Odom, Rhodesian Mudflap, H-Town Danny, WD Richie just wants to run a normal offense with the talent we have on offense. Well, I think that's what we've been doing. Finally, Chris Hilton, Ben Bloodworth, Bob WD Salmons, Auburn University debate team 74-75, and current Sleazy Shyster. Algo Rhythm and Blues, Rusty Owens, and goodbye, Hugh. Goodbye, Hugh. Goodbye, Mr. B. Luther and Kelly Ottaway. Van Allen Plexico asked me to stop telling Thanksgiving jokes, but I can't quit cold turkey. I never told anybody to stop telling Thanksgiving jokes. Todd Robinson, a.k.a. Undisputed 2012 Doubles Badminton Intramural Champion. God, badminton is hard. I don't know how anybody plays that. Woody the Jag, the official 2024 Bowl Mania champion. Chad McDowell, Auburn Footballs, Elvis, Wade Ward, Reynolds Wolf, Philip Martin, Jeff Hunter, who is Frosty's favorite ant, Antarctica. Timothy, Russell Milling, Randall Walker, David Simpson, Josh Teal, Tony Perry, Rob Morgan, Patrick Williams says the AU wishbone is simply...
Whether you like it or not, learn to love it because it's the best thing going today.
Woo! Shannon Butson, Construction Tiger, Papa Todd, Cato the Barner, Stephen Houston, Kevin Mahan, Blake Heron, Sarah Hines, Sasquatch, 6-time hide-and-seek national champion says, hire Durkin and get out of the way. On the field results matter. I'm telling you, Sasquatch, Durkin and Nix both could not be laying out a better resume than they've been doing. And I hope they keep it up, beat that Bama tail, and let's let the chips fall where they may. Amen. Tim Pittman. Oh, here he is. Me. Me. What? Charles Mooney. The weatherman got fired after breaking his arms and legs because he would have trouble with forecasts. I don't know how John makes it through this segment. I just feel like I'm slowly taking away his will to live. He's just wasting away before our very eyes. Yeah, he's jabbing himself in the throat with a pen. I know, I get it. David D. Auburn Blue, Dr. Crackham. Bill Weathers, Philip Martin, Wardam SEC champ. This is a segment that takes it out of my voice, especially since I did an hour and a half earlier today on the Babylon 5 review show. What is Wardam SEC champions? Walt is dumbfounded at Hugh Freeze's ineptitude and thinks he was a far worse on the field coach than was
Potato.
I agree. Antoine Morris, ABB, Wiggeber 2005 Auburn University Intramural Horseshoes champion. Tyler Ward, the 2025 War Ready Bracket champion. I'll say this. Potato never did anything positive, but he was also never just a complete lead weight around the team while they were trying to play.
An anchor.
Yeah, an anchor. Anchor's down. No kidding. Mark Squire, Joey Miller, Alex Wynn, Kenneth Britt Raines, the barbecue.
You have failed me for the last time.
A.K. Auburn for life. Probably not the last time. John Stubbs, Clay Henson, and finally, Justin Bean, James Taylor, Ruth and Darren Sutherland, Stephen Thompson, Ben Amos, Spanky. I'm at the bottom of this list because...
God wills it! Blasphemy!
Chris Como, Darren Pyle, David Smiley, Trevor Johnson, Royce Alvarez, college equestrian expert Auburn Elvis. Elvis, I've seen you on the videos on Twitter giving your update reports from the equestrian thing. That's pretty cool. I think we knocked off Georgia that was number 1 ranked this past week. The equestrian did. I think we were number 2. Georgia was number 1, and we took them down because that's what we do. Hey, you falling up. John Otsuki, Paul Bankston, Russell Souther, MVP captivating Kathy Bright.
You don't have any friends. Nobody likes you.
Ben Regas, Bobby Polite, Elizabeth Donald, I'll buy this for $1, Rich Hammett, Chris Braun, Alex Browns, Liver Cirrhosis Aubie, That's what happens when you're drunk. I'll be too long. The Slinko family, Daniel Witten, Tim Sauls, Jim McCrory. I will lick the toes of you. I will not lick the toes of you. I do not like the toes of woe. I am Tiger. I'm not a hoe. Okay. With God as his witness, New York Tiger thought turkeys could fly. Happy Thanksgiving and beat Bama.
Please clap.
That's right. Steve Bailey, CT Tiger, Jim Myers, Trey Jackson, Howard Franz, Peter Wang, Willie Moe, Zach Doron, Chris, and our one-time and anonymous donors. We thank you all. www.auwishbone.com. Coming up, we have listener questions and around the SEC. But first, it's time for our weekly look at the miscreants, ne'er-do-wells, and ragamuffins that collectively constitute the worst coaches in the world. And Samuel Salvatore put in his request of here's what he thought about it, which I think is absolutely hits it on the head. He said, Hugh Freeze again qualifies this week. Knight is playing way better than Arnold. We were wasting our wide receiver talent. We had terrible special teams. Even they have gotten better somehow without Freeze. Golf was more important than football, and the offense has scored 38 and 62 points. You look at all that together, and I think Hugh Freeze. Was there anybody else we want to throw in there? I feel like there were a couple of games over the weekend that Bobby Petrino, for all that he's tried to do at Arkansas, he still hasn't won a game, has he?
They haven't, but they've outgained everybody and they lose.
It's crazy. They've played so much better, and yet he just keeps losing. He can't stop losing. Yeah. And Illinois lost. I was mad with Bert.
Ooh, and they lost to Wisconsin. Ooh.
I know. They barely beat Maryland when I was there, and then they went on the road up to Wisconsin, who's playing a little bit better. I think Wisconsin won last week too. They kind of quit their downward spiral, but I hated seeing them beat Illinois. I just continue to ask, how can a school as big as Illinois, with as much money as Illinois has, as tradition as they have, why do they not field a competitive football team every year? I don't understand it.
That's fair.
We're still waiting to hear back, by the way, from Illinois. I feel confident that Mira's going to get in. That's kind of where she wants to go. But she did. I mentioned Mira got accepted to Auburn, and she got a really nice scholarship offer. So Auburn is really wanting her. So it's nice to, you hear so much about how hard it is to get into Auburn these days compared to in our day. Mm-hmm. John, the fact that I have 2 diplomas from Auburn on my wall should testify to how easier it was to get into Auburn in our day. But that's right. All right. So it is time.
Thank you. Order.
Speaking of Mira,
Prime Minister.
It's time for listener questions. Dun, 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 on the AU Wishbone podcast.
And that was Mira about 10 years ago or more.
I was going to say, she sounds like a college student.
Yes.
All right. Our first, we have 3 emails this week. The first is from friend of the podcast, Jared, who sent in a haiku about the Mercer game.
Let's do it.
Having fun again. Yes, it was only Mercer. Deuce may be legit.
That's pretty good. Man sums it up in a few words.
He wrote one looking ahead to the Alabama game. Auburn Samurai, hear my impassioned decree. Destroy the red tide.
Yes.
And then he threw in a dad joke as well. He says, did I tell you about my chiropractor joke? It was about a week back.
There you go. Stick to haikus, Jared.
He got me a couple weeks ago with the haiku. I laughed in the middle of it and messed it up. So
that's so good.
All right. Next email is from frequent emailer Bill Miner. And the subject line is alternative legislature. He says, hey guys, I heard Van talk about his daughter doing Girls State, which you already referenced in this podcast, last week. And I remember doing Boys State in Florida, which took place in Tallahassee, where we stayed at Florida State. I was elected to the fictional legislature. We all had to write a bill and defend it to try to get it passed on the floor, although we had never see what would ultimately happen with it. If either of you were ever elected to the Alabama legislature, what bills would you introduce, obviously tongue-in-cheek, that would be of Auburn football's benefit or have fun messing with the other schools in the state? I think making UAB the flagship and having UAT beg UAB for stuff such as not shutting their programs down would be rich.
Oh, that's so good. Yeah. Well, when we did first time ever, discovering a whole lot of cool stuff that had been going on at the state legislature level all those years was really interesting. Like that they were supposed to build a really nice stadium for Auburn in Alabama. And it never really happened. That didn't really materialize, which is why they kept playing in Birmingham. But there's a lot of stuff. But no, I love the idea of moving the flagship to Birmingham. Leaving Tuscaloosa that big.
I wouldn't actually do these kind of things, but I think what Kirby Smart has gotten the Georgia legislature to do, which is basically to change the Freedom of Information Act laws in Georgia so they don't apply to the Georgia football program at all, basically, where they apply to everything else government related in the state of Georgia, but they don't apply to the Georgia football program, and they don't have to provide information if you ask, where all other publicly funded organizations in the state do. I think that is a ridiculous use of power, and but I would, if I was in the Alabama legislature, I'd probably do that. So
it's incredible.
I mean, I just like, what else can you do? I would require Alabama to I don't know, to do something extra. I kept trying to think about what I would make them do.
Well, you could do the opposite of what they try to do to Auburn, which is absorb them into our system rather than them absorbing us into theirs. Yeah, that was close. I've said before, FDR and the New Deal saved that, because that New Deal money came in when Alabama was trying to absorb Auburn into the Alabama system. We would have been University of Alabama at Auburn, and that would have sucked.
You got that right. All right, and our last email this week is from Logan Chilton, who says, "Gents, in the spirit of rivalry week and the closing music from last week," says, cue the Soviet national anthem. I have an important question. If you were in a boat with one extra seat and Alabama, the Soviet Union, North Korea, and Iran were all drowning next to you, would you eat fried chicken or barbecue as you rode away? Warning and beat Bama, Logan Chilton.
That's so good. Hey, I'm going to tell my joke, my SEC joke. I'm sure everybody's heard this a million times, but so an Auburn fan, an Alabama fan, an Auburn fan, a Georgia fan, and an Alabama fan were driving through the desert, and the car crashed. And so they climb out of the wreckage and they start wandering together down the highway looking for civilization. And they kind of look at each other. What have you got? What are you contributing to our trying to stay alive? And the Auburn guy's got a jug of water. He says, "I got some water in case we get thirsty." Oh, that's good. Yeah. And the Alabama guy, the Georgia guy, has a couple of sandwiches that he had brought with him. He's like, "Well, if we get hungry, I got some food here." Well, that's good. And he's carrying his little bag of food. And the Alabama guy is carrying the door of the car. And they're like, "Well, what are you doing? What is this contributing?" And he goes, "If we get hot, I can roll the window down." I love that joke so much. That's an old one. That was somebody wrote up on their dinosaur to tell me that one years ago. All right. What else we got in the mailbag?
That's it for the mailbag.
Let's take a
I was going to say, send your questions to auwishbone@gmail.com, and we'll soon have post Iron Bowl and potentially post coach hiring.
It's not long, yeah. And we got to talk about the three basketball games will be coming up next time too. So, God, you think tonight's show was loaded? Man, next show is going to be the next show is going to be bigger. The next show we may go 3 hours. I'm just warning y'all now. The next show may go 3 hours. You might well warn the relatives, the loved ones. It's going to go. All right, week 13. Here we go. Alabama Auburn is the night game. Let's go ahead and mention that. But looking backwards, I'm sorry, I forgot we start with the old games. Oklahoma 17, Missouri 6. Yeah, Oklahoma is like they're like the anaconda.
Win ugly.
Yeah, they squeeze the life out of you.
I mean, Missouri was up in this game, and I think they blocked a kick and then threw a long touchdown pass. And I turned around and it was 14-6 or 14-3 or whatever. It had been getting ready to be 6-0.
It was 3-0 a long time, Missouri. And then once Oklahoma gets the lead, they just squeeze you like an anaconda and run the clock out. That's what they do. Yeah, it can't be a very fun way to watch a team. They make Alabama under Saban in his
early days
murder ball. Yeah, look good. Vanderbilt clobbered Kentucky, which again makes me think that we should have easily destroyed Kentucky if in a normal world.
Well, and that's a statement which never will be repeated on this podcast. The Vanderbilt quarterback was padding his stats for his Heisman campaign against an SEC school
as they try to get into the playoffs. What world? Texas 52, Arkansas 17. Arkansas, I don't know. You guys have kind of hit rock bottom. Tennessee 31, Florida 11. Same with Florida. They gave up a long time ago.
They did, but this is the first time Tennessee has won in Gainesville in over 20 years.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I didn't realize that. I might have watched it just to kind of soak up the historical ambiance of it. I didn't realize that. Wow. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, because you remember all those years back in the 90s that Tennessee would be going to play the national championship, but they'd lose to Florida.
That's right.
And Florida knock them out of the SEC championship game every year. Let's see. LSU 13, Western Kentucky 10. I didn't know how the final score of that game was because Western Kentucky was winning right up until halftime. Yeah. And then when LSU scored, I'm like, okay, so they're going to put the hammer down now. And I kind of quit watching. But it looks like they came back and made it close.
I think LSU just couldn't pull away. I think they were playing their backup quarterback, and
they're so bad now. A&M shut out Samford 48-0. Georgia beat Charlotte. Is Charlotte the team that Tulane's playing?
Yes.
Okay. 35-3. Alabama beat Girls State 56-0. And the South Carolina beat the Coastal Carolina 51-7. So stay in the southern part of Carolina. Don't venture toward the coast because they get whipped. There's also East Carolina and Western Carolina and North Carolina. There's too many Carolinas, John. Too many Carolinas. We had too many Dakotas and too many Carolinas in this country. That's one of our problems. Tulane watch 2025. Tulane beat Temple and pretty handily.
Temple's not good, but they beat him pretty solidly.
I watched a lot of that game. I have it on Tulane watch. So we're just keeping an eye on Summerall. All right, coming up Friday. Friday's the Egg Bowl at 11 a.m. Friday at 11 a.m. Central, noon Eastern on ABC is the Egg Bowl. So you have a day's worth of football. In fact, get this. When that game is ending, you got Georgia Tech in the big Mercedes-Benz Stadium, yeah, home to the Atlanta United soccer team and also the Falcons. That's at 2:30 Central, 3:30 Eastern, and then just to close things out, the Collie Dogs at Texas at 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central. So Friday is football, and football. I like it.
Those are great. 3 really fun games. I mean, can you imagine after all this Lane Kiffin talk, if he goes in there and blows it and they lose to Mississippi State?
And what do we always say about the Egg Bowl? The team that's supposed to lose almost always wins.
Yes.
It's so weird, but they do. Saturday, Kentucky at Louisville. So the rivalries continue. Clemson at South Carolina. That's always fun. LSU at Oklahoma. That's Oklahoma. That has the earmarks of 17-3.
Ding, ding, ding. And a game you don't want to watch.
Maybe 13-3.
Mm-hmm.
I may be giving them too much credit. And that 13-3 is not because LSU is particularly good at defense. No. It's just because Oklahoma's not going to score more than 13 and still win by double digits. Missouri at Arkansas. Another chance for Arkansas to lose. Vanderbilt at Tennessee. And this That has the potential to be the best game of the day.
Other than Auburn, Alabama, that's the best game on Saturday. Vanderbilt to Tennessee, 3:30 on ESPN.
Because I mean, Vanderbilt's going into the big house with a team that can win, but Tennessee is good enough to make it interesting.
Well, and it could be whoever wins gets an at-large playoff spot.
Is Tennessee still in the running? I thought they lost like 3 games.
Oh,
I don't know how good.
I mean, but Vanderbilt for sure is.
Oh, Vandy's playing for their playoff life. There's no doubt about that. And just to beat Tennessee, that's their big thing. Yeah. Yes. And Pavia is playing for the Heisman Trophy. There's a lot on the line there. And then finally, well, at 4:30 Eastern, 3:30 Central, ESPN2, you got Florida State at Florida, which is like they're just going to show a dumpster fire for 3.5 hours. You're going to have a camera pointed at a dumpster on fire.
Don't even bother watching that game.
Who wants it less type of game. And then, of course, the night game is the Iron Bowl, which is what everybody's waiting for. So we've got 2 solid full days of football leading up to the pièce de résistance on Saturday night.
All right. And since it's Thanksgiving, I got a couple other appetizers for you. Thursday night, Navy at Memphis. This is the only decent college football game on Thanksgiving Day. 7:30 on Thanksgiving night. Navy offense is really good. Memphis offense is good. This will be a fun back and forth game.
I'm counting on Navy this year being so good that they can take care of Army, which they haven't been doing too well lately. Remember, Navy kind of went on a run for a while there.
I know.
And then Army's kind of gone on a run. This is a series of runs. And so, you know, I need my Navy boys to beat Army, and you need your Army boys to beat Navy, as we know. Right. So we'll see. Could be fun. It's always fun.
And then Friday, a late game, 9 p.m. Eastern, Arizona at Arizona State. I think they're both 8-3. 2 good teams. That'll be fun. We kind of went back and forth. And then Saturday, Dillingham, and I think it'll be fun to watch. And then Saturday, Ohio State at Michigan is noon on Fox. So in the early window, you know, that'll be fun. Oh, yeah. And I'd love to see Michigan mess them up again. That would be really, really hilarious.
Oh, and they could. As strange as it sounds, as strange as it sounds, they find a way. Michigan finds a way. To quote Jurassic football. All right, I think that's gonna do it, man. You have a little note.
I just want to say, you know, Van and I are thankful for all of you, the patrons, the listeners, the supporters of this podcast, family and friends. We appreciate all of you, and Boris as well. Thank you. And we hope you have a wonderful, safe, and happy Thanksgiving. Be careful if you're traveling out there to visit your loved ones or to go to the football game this weekend. And then let's beat the hell out of Alabama.
Let's beat the hell out of Alabama because you know what is best in life, John.
Crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentation of their
Bama fans. And we're just a few days away.
That is what is best.
I don't ask for a lot. I really don't. But I think it's time.
Amen.
It's time to beat Bama. And we're going to have a big, either way, we're going to have a big show next week. But with a lot of stuff to cover. But if that happens, John, this show will be off the chain. Our time is up. We thank you for yours. War Eagle, John.
War Eagle, man.